Hi, everyone. This is CricketSong with Inner Wisdom, and you're watching the second episode of Wyrds, Witches, Witchcraft. And I am here. This is a pre-recorded episode again. Live recordings will happen in October, but I'm here with my co-host, Obsidian Fire.
Bonjour, je suis donc Obsidian Fire, je suis française, résident en France, et vais être la co-animatrice de CricketSong pour cette nouvelle saison.
Yay! So welcome, everyone. Thank you for taking out some of the time of your day and sharing it with us. And if you haven't watched the first episode, I encourage you to go take a look at that. That explains the name change, and it explains who my new co-host is. But today our topic is we're going to do Ravenflower's 2018 Witchy Questions tag. So we figured this will give you new viewers some insight into who we are, and some old viewers some more insight into who Obsidian Fire is, the mysterious new co-host of the show.
I'm not that mysterious.
Yes, you are. You're full of French mystery.
I'm glamoring all the time.
There you go. Exactly, right? Ooh. So there's 18 questions, Ravenflower's 2018 Witchy question. There's 18, and we're going to get through them in an hour. We're going to try, at least, right? We're going to try. Because I was thinking, even if each of us took a minute to answer, that's like, what, 36 minutes? Oh, yeah, we'd have plenty of time. So, yeah, we can take about 2 minutes per question, right?
It's going to be hard for me. I will stutter and mess with my tenses and
oh my gosh, she is so self-conscious about her English. Everyone watching this, please tell her she speaks wonderful English. She is so nervous about this.
Please.
They're not going to lie. They're not going to lie. All right, so question number one. What are 3 things you do every day to stay connected to your craft or your practice?
3 things. Okay, so every day I'm doing offerings, so daily offerings. That is a common way to stay connected. I spend a lot of time with my family too. Often I talk to him if I need to, or if I feel low or anything like this, or we just play, and that's okay. And I think I can say I use my oracle decks mostly every day. So it would be my 3 main things that I do. Simple things.
Yeah. So my 3, I would say I spend time at my altar every day. Sometimes it's giving offerings. Sometimes it's doing a spell. Sometimes it's just tidying up or clearing something that has been done. Another thing, I would say, either reading a book or reading online, staying connected to information regarding Wicca or witchcraft or spirituality. So whether it's, looking up things or writing blogs for my blog or creating content for my Patreon subscribers or reading a witchy type book, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, I do that every day. And the third one, I want to say somehow connecting to the natural world or the world that I find myself in, the land. So trying to, either go outside for a walk or just to go outside, open the windows and connecting to the energies of the lands that I'm living in now. Because right now for me, that's really important to get grounded. But even when I lived in Massachusetts, I would do something similar, whether it's, go out in the backyard or open windows or something, staying connected to the energies of the area. So
Yeah, that's a good thing. I would love to have a backyard, which is not my case at the moment, but maybe at some point in the future I will have I will have
well,
one.
it can be if you don't have like land, like if you don't have a yard or a garden. I mean, even if you have a balcony or a window, just
Yeah, I do.
connecting to that
Yeah,
outside
every morning
energies.
when I'm taking my first coffee, I'm at the window and I'm looking mostly at the crows, which are every morning crowing,
Yeah.
singing in front of my window. So, yeah. And usually when school is up, I'm going outside and I walk to the school and back. And again,
Yeah,
I
there you
take
go.
time to look at the
Yeah,
nature,
there
which
you
is
go. I
beautiful.
mean, even just the physical aspect of walking outside, you're connecting and grounding with the area that you live in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
So that was number one. Number two, when a spell or working fails, what step do you take to try again or to fix it? What steps do you take to try it again or fix it?
Well, when it didn't work, first I will look into my magical notebook. It's not my grimoire. It's just it's a notebook full with my working, and then I will look if I see if at any point my intents were lost or disconnect with the elements I used. And if I do not see anything like this, then I start to question my intents, my to see if I was really connected with my true will. Because most of the time I've discovered that I was not. And this was the reason why it didn't work.
Right. Yeah, for me, first thing I do is look to see if it actually did fail, because sometimes I think we're quick
Yeah,
to look for manifestation, and it may take longer than we think it does. So
totally.
if I'm thinking it failed, it may not have failed. So I try to wait. If a whole moon cycle has gone through, so if it was a full moon and the next full moon it didn't show up, or if it was something I did in a dark moon and the next dark moon it didn't show up, then I'll go back and look at the mechanics of the spell, or think about the what was happening when I cast the spell. Did someone interrupt me? Did I lose focus? Did something distract me? Because it's
Mm.
probably my focus that was lost. And then I'll look at the actual, like you said, the correspondences, the ingredients. Did everything line up? Did I think this particular herb worked for what I did? And maybe I used something that I didn't mean to use. And then if it's something I really am intent on manifesting, I may try it again. If it was something that I'm like, well, maybe this wasn't the best thing to do at this time, I won't try it again. I will approach the situation in a new way. I'll approach it from a different point of view and do a different spell that may get me to the same intention, but in a different way of getting there, a different
Mm.
path.
Yeah, I understand. Mostly when I am doing a spell, a walking of any type, I know when I'm getting disconnected and when there is too much of disruption, and I wrote it down after in my walking book. So whenever I am checking why a spell didn't manifest, I already know it
Yeah.
did not manifest. I'm sure of it most of the time. Yeah, it was my two
Yeah. I think that's
cents.
this. Yeah, it does. Cause that's like the same too, I would say. I mean, if I cast something and I see that the time has gone by and it didn't manifest, I can probably tell you why.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
when I went into it, I had a little bit of a doubt, but then I just pushed through it. Oh, well, that little bit of a doubt put up, or,
absolutely. Yeah,
or maybe
thinking we
I
know.
shouldn't have done this. And yeah, of course I shouldn't have done it. I've learned that if there's any sort of doubt, then probably
Yeah.
shouldn't go through with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we know it almost from the start when a spell won't won't manifest because we lost the focus on anything like this, and it was the try, but yeah,
Yeah.
we know.
Number 3, have you ever used an object or ingredient in a spell that would be considered odd or whimsical?
Mm, I don't think so, or I don't recall if I did. I don't know. I no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, I guess every time I look at something, for me, I look at something and I'm like, wow, that could be used in a spell for this. Or wow, like right now I'm looking at my desk and I have all these little pop figures or Funko figures. And I'm like, those could be used for a spell involving this, or this. I think it's just my imagination or uh practicality, oh, this pencil, I could use it in a spell for, academic or scholarship things, or uh, usually, or this barrette, I could use this to, I don't know, clip something together. I mean, I don't know. I'm always looking for different things that could be incorporated into a spell. And I think when you start practicing and spell casting, I feel like it's something that just naturally develops from that, right?
Right, right. It's mostly the same for me too, but usually, in fact, the thing is, usually I'm working mostly with energies, so there is not so much um, things, elements, objects in Minecraft. There is, but not many.
Yeah.
And then I am shaping energy
Right.
most of the time. So the need of objects isn't really a thing for me.
Right. Was there like I mean, do you use herbs and oils and things like that?
I do. That's the traditional correspondences
Right.
and way to practice. It is basics.
Do
But
you use
except
is
from
there
basics, yeah,
Well, from that, is there a herb or a oil that maybe isn't usually used that you might use on a regular basis that other people might be like, wow, you use that?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Or I just don't recall. But I don't think so.
Okay. I was just curious. I mean, that's sort of
Sorry,
going off from that,
I'm kind
going
of
sort of,
disappointing.
yeah. Okay. Number 4, what techniques do you use to generate energy for spell casting?
When I do a magical work, I like to have music with me because sound is an energy, and music is can be a powerful energy, at least for me. So most of the time, again, I'm listening music while I work, and I try to enter an altered state of consciousness with through the music, with the music. And then I gather energy of my surroundings. That's my cat. He's jealous. I think he wanna be on the TV. And then I gather energy on my surroundings from elements, water and smoke and fire, and I gather energy of the sound too, and then I'm shaping it. And if I need to quickly raise my own energy, then I might, scrub my palm against each other sometimes before casting. And
Yeah.
yeah, most of the time it's not very fancy, but it's the way I
No,
work.
I agree. I mean, I too use not necessarily not just music for me, but sound. So it could be, a singing bowl, it could be clapping, it could be a drum, it could be my own voice. I love chanting. So I
Chanting.
find chanting for myself, by myself, I'm able to get lost in the chant and raise energy that way. And I do the same thing you do, pull from not only myself, raise the energy myself, and then pull from the environment, from the elements, or from the spiritual realm. Sometimes, well, in the past, using my familiar, or the familiar spirits, or the beloved dead, or the ancient ones, asking them, or combining my energies with the spirit realm, and then sort of siphoning it all together, and raising the cone of power. And I've done that too. I mean, especially if I'm doing Reiki on someone, rubbing your hands together to sort of get a kindling going, and then sparking that forward.
Absolutely. That's the way I use it. And of course I do too rely sometimes on the energy of my spiritual eyes and such. But I did understand the question as without any other help. So that's why I answered the way I did.
That makes sense. Number 5, how do you stay motivated to witch through things, or even work or start a grimoire? How do you stay motivated to witch through things, or how do you stay motivated to work or start a grimoire? So I guess they're just talking about getting motivated to get through or witch through a situation that may be difficult, or to start something.
Well, it's the situation I go through is difficult. I think it's a motivation in self. Shh. My cat again. They are trying to drop the background, I think.
Yeah.
Bad cats. What was I saying?
You were saying it depends on the situation, maybe?
Yeah, if the situation, that's it. Thank you. If the situation is difficult, I think it's a motivation in self. So I will try to witch through it. Or do I stay motivated? Well, like everyone, I have ups and downs, but I know that I can change things. So this is motivating me all the time to try to push further my boundaries, to see how far I can go. And even if I'm not feeling very well one day, well, I will be probably feeling better the other day. So I will try again. I will think about the situation and see, can I change things, manifesting things, and I will go through it like this, following my intuition and my will, mostly.
Yeah, me too. I think, contemplating the situation, if it's a difficult situation that you have to witch through, it's something that you feel that it's difficult. I think looking at it, and then looking at different perspectives and different ways to get around whatever is keeping you, whatever obstacle or struggles you're getting through, looking at different ways and understanding. For me, at least, I remind myself that anything that causes suffering, or causes discomfort, or causes pain has value in it for me. That, if life is just all happiness and joy, then I wouldn't be the person I am today. So even knowing that the darkest times, or the most difficult times, are the ones that are most rewarding once you're on the other side of it. So knowing that and looking for that, even if that means just embracing that struggle and feeling the pain, and knowing that it's going to end, that there's an end to it, and reminding myself that helps me witch through something. Now, staying motivated, I think if I find for myself, if there is something I set out to do and I lose motivation, I really consider why I feel the need to continue doing that thing, because maybe that thing doesn't really fit in with my true will anymore. So I don't want to force myself to do something that I don't see value in doing anymore. Not necessarily that it's difficult, because that's different. I think we're looking at two different scenarios. I think the things that I'm like, meh, then I drop it and I go do something else. And I may go back to it. And if I go back to it, then that means it has value again. But if I don't go back to it, then maybe I got out what I was supposed to get out of it at that point.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't supposed to be that useful. If we start to get bored with something, if we force ourselves into it, there is a risk to become stagnant.
Yeah.
And this is not something we want, I think. Though we do not have to practice or witch through things always in the same way. It's logical to evolve. It's logical to choose one way among others and to change our mind. I won't force myself, and like you do not. I do not.
Either. Yeah. Okay, so the next question is, are there times when you doubt your power or don't feel connected?
Yeah, of course it is. I think everyone have times like this.
I agree.
Don't you think?
I agree.
We are not super powerful. We are not heroes from the comics. Where even they doubt. Of course, there is moments where I'm feeling totally useless and and low and unable to do anything. And yeah, of course.
I agree. I mean, I disagree. I do think we're superheroes, but I think
even have low moments too.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I think the superheroes, even they have doubts, and I think that someone who doesn't ever have a doubt, I honestly would question that.
Yeah,
because there's, I would suggest that they have doubts and they're just not verbalizing it. They're not telling you they have doubts, or they're psychotic. And there is something going on there that, yes, that something isn't quite right there. I think it's human nature to have doubts. I think it's healthy to have doubts because then it helps you evaluate yourself, and it helps you check yourself, and it helps you build and grow. Because I mean, if we stay at one level and we never have doubts of where we are, then I feel like there's no growth there.
But I agree absolutely. Questioning ourselves, doubting ourselves is a way to progress. We have to know where our shadow parts are, and to get to know it, to feeling it. It's a natural part of the process, I think. And if someone, as you said, do not ever doubt, so I think there is problem there. There is a problem.
Yeah,
obviously there is. You have to questioning yourself. You have to question yourself. If you don't, then maybe you are in the kind of thoughts that are induced by cults. You see, the one with the bad gurus and everything like this, they are not allowed to doubt. This is not healthy.
Yeah.
You have to doubt.
I do. And not feeling connected. I think when you're not feeling connected, it gives you the opportunity to look for a new way to get connected. Yeah. So it's almost like, my favorite flavor of ice cream used to be, I don't know, coffee. And now it's not coffee anymore. So that gives me the opportunity to try different flavors and find a new favorite. I think that when we don't feel connected, it encourages us to find different ways to get connected. And I think that's part of that growth too. Yeah. So the next question, number 7, is, how do you build community?
Okay, I'm not sure to understand this one. What What does it mean?
So, how you build community, meaning how do you sort of bring people and create like a family for yourself? How do you network with others? How do you build a support for yourself?
That's a difficult question. I'm very solitary. I'm very on the to be silent and end of the scale, you know, so I do not build any community.
I disagree with you.
I have friends. Okay, I have friends. It is not exactly the same things, but I have only two true friends, at least in my eyes. So there are few. There are very few, and I do not get too mixed with other people easily. You see, even if I go to a party, I'm very social and smiling, and everything is okay. I'm okay. I don't feel uneased in the with the other people, but I don't necessarily look for their presence. There is only a bunch of people who truly matters for me, and they are my community.
Well, you're building a community now through this
Yeah, I
show too.
know, I know,
So
because
she builds community by connecting with people and then joining what they've created for community. See,
yeah,
she was so solitary now, and I'm
you
sure
made me do it.
I made you do. I didn't make you do any. Yeah, I put a spell on you.
You did.
Um, so yeah, I think building community is one thing, like being an in-person community and being having an online community, and they're different, but I think both have value. So if you're
Yeah,
in a place where there aren't very many witches, or you don't have the ability for whatever reason to get out and into a physical community, or maybe it's just uncomfortable for you, or you're not ready for something like that, or it's not available to you, I think having an online community, in Facebook groups or on YouTube channels or in forums, however, wherever, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever, wherever you're able to connect with
and
other
you know,
people. Right, whatever. You can make a great community. And I find that I have back in Massachusetts. I started doing workshops and learning circles and created a coven, and I built and got out and went to shops and networked with the people in the shops and did psychic fairs and all that. And I found a community there. Here, I just recently started looking for groups in the area to sort of reach out and connect with other psychics and witches here in this area. So, and I've always had some sort of online community. So those are the ways that I find community.
yeah, absolutely. I do have friends online, but
You
again,
do.
few.
Your
Few.
circle's just gonna get bigger with this show, I'm telling you.
We will
Um,
see. We will see.
Number 8, how do you cope when life just becomes too much and you begin to lose faith in your practice, in what you do, and sometimes even who you are? How do you cope?
Well, it's somehow like the question we had previously. At any new moments of losing trust in ourselves or in our craft, the situation is different from the previous. So the answers will be different as well. I think it cannot be one single ever time valid answer. I don't think it's possible. So when do I cope? Well, ask me that the next time I will be losing myself.
Right.
I don't know, because each time it's different. Each time it's different. And it's logical. Again, it's a part of the process. We are losing faith in ourselves or in our craft for different reasons through times.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's gonna be because maybe we lost someone
Right.
dear to our hearts. And so we have to deal with the grief. And this is something heavy. we will find then way to cope with it. But next time we will lose faith in ourselves and such. Maybe it will be because we experiment difficulties at work. It's not the same thing. Maybe we will lost self-confidence because we have problems with a shitty boss or something like this, and the answer we will have to find will will be different from the previous one and will be different from the next one. So I don't know what to say more, what to say. Ask me that when I will be in the bottom of the rock pit, and then I will answer you.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think though, I think it all comes back to our relationship with ourselves though. I think when life becomes too much, or I begin to lose faith in whatever it is, my practice, or I lose faith in my job, or I lose faith in myself. I think it comes back to that relationship with self, how I perceive myself, what are my beliefs about myself. Because if you have a shitty relationship with yourself, then you're going to have a shitty relationship in everything else. And even though it doesn't look shitty right now, you're probably putting up a glamour, or you're probably faking, or you're probably just pretending that everything's okay when that relationship with self is not okay. So if I'm having difficulty in coping in whatever aspect of my life, then it comes back down to looking at my relationship with myself. And if you're one of my Patreon subscribers and supporters, that journey of self-love is how I'm coping with stuff. It's working through that.
It's a very brave way to cope with it. In a very honest way. And I absolutely agree with what you've just said. The first problem, or problems with an S, are with ourselves. And I think we do all have trouble with ourselves. We do all have difficulty to accept some part of ourselves. And it's a long battle. Long battle.
I agree. So number 9, where or what is your favorite magical scenery? Now, Obsidian Fire and I were trying to figure out what this question really means. So if we're looking at magical scenery, I would say your magical setting, like when you're going to do magic or cast a spell or do any kind of working, what is your favorite place to do that? Or what do you like to be surrounded with in order to do that? That's how we're going to interpret this question.
Okay. So then it would be, because I cannot, it would be in nature, probably in the backyard I do not have. I would like to set up my altar there. And I did actually get some workings done on my balcony at night. It was freezing outside, but I didn't pay attention to that. So yeah, it would be in nature.
Yeah, I agree.
Little part of nature.
When I was living in Massachusetts, we did a few rituals and spell castings with some. I did it with some friends on the beach, and that was wonderful. But I would really like to explore going out into the woods or having a lot of trees around me now. I was kind of leery about doing that in Massachusetts because of ticks. But here in Washington, they don't have ticks with the Lyme disease. So I'm more anxious to get out there in the woods. So I think nature is definitely it. Where's your favorite magical scenery? Out standing on the ground, not cement, but on the ground, in the grass, in the sand, in the dirt. So that's my favorite, but I would like to explore going out in the woods more.
In the woods, yeah, me too. But we do have ticks, so
I got bit by a tick a couple of years ago and got really, really sick.
Oh gosh!
Yeah, it was not a good experience. So I'm like traumatized by the ticks right now.
Yeah, I can understand. And with the Lyme disease, there is true reason to be careful.
Yeah, I was tested negative for Lyme, thank goodness, but I had some other kind of infection that they carry, and I was really sick for a little while there. That was not fun. Okay, number 10. How do you handle new friendships that don't know you practice the craft? So if you make a friend and they don't know you practice the craft, how do you handle that?
Very easily, because I'm in the broom
What?
closet.
I'm sorry, it cut you out.
I was saying very easily because I am in the broom closet. So there is again very few of my friends that do know that I am practicing witchcraft. So yeah, when I make a new friend, I make a new friend, and I don't tell him or her anything he doesn't need to know, and that's it.
And that's one of the things that we're very contrasted on, because a lot of the things I think we think similarly, we believe similarly, we practice similarly.
Yeah.
I am totally out of the broom closet. There's a witch hanging from my front porch. So as soon as we moved here, that witch went out. That I'm out there. And I realized as we settle here in Seattle, and my daughter is becoming friends with the homeschooling families, that I just have the moms come over, not thinking that they're going to walk here into my living room and see my altar with my Baphomet and my candles with Baphomet, and I don't even consider that. And then I'm like, oh shit, maybe I should like warn them, like, hey, because I don't want to put my daughter in an awkward position, and I don't want to put these women or fathers coming over with their kids in an awkward position, like looking at that and getting an inaccurate understanding of who or what we are. But so far it's been pretty open, and some of the new homeschooling moms want to come over and learn more. They're asking me, they're like, oh my gosh, I saw on your Facebook page that you're a witch. Can I ask you questions? Do you talk about it with people? I'm like, do I talk about it with people? Here is a link to my YouTube channel. Check out my videos, kind of thing. So I don't even have to handle it. It's just I don't go out and say, hi, I'm CricketSong and I'm a witch. It's just not something I hide. So.
And that's great. That's fabulous. I find it very fascinating. I'd like at some point to be as open as you are, but yeah, it's not exactly doable for the moment. We will see maybe when my kid will be grown up. Maybe.
Yeah.
But for maybe. Maybe.
If it's something you really want to do, if it's honestly something you want to do, you'll do it. At some point, it'll happen for you.
If I have if I feel the necessity of it, I will do it.
I know you will.
Yeah.
The next question, number 11. How do you deal with family that does not accept you being a witch? How do you deal with family that don't accept you being a witch?
I'll let you guess.
They don't even know.
No.
They don't even know she's a witch. So she doesn't have to deal with them accepting her. They don't even know.
Exactly. And I don't plan to tell them. And anyway, I don't need their approval to be what I am and to do what I do. So I am not seeking approval of any sort. I don't care. It's mostly the reason why I'm not telling, because I don't give a shit.
Right. So
I'm doing my thing for myself. And that's it.
I think, in the beginning, my parents were a big, they struggled, but I gave them some books and some things to read. And I don't think they necessarily accept it. but I guess they don't, like, they
Reject
haven't
you.
denounced me, they still talk with me, and they try to be as respectful as they can. But I think it's a really big challenge for people who are taught that witchcraft is bad and
Evil.
it's evil and
Yeah.
I'm going to hell.
Yeah.
So it's hard for them to believe that and still be accepting of what I am, of that I have fully consciously embraced being a witch and I practice witchcraft, yet they're told and they believe that I will not be with God when I die and they will never see me again.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
a fear.
understand it's difficult for them. But you know, but
But
but so how do I deal with them? Right now it's easier because now I'm in Seattle and they're in Massachusetts. So distance makes it easy. It's a little more difficult for me when I was there in Massachusetts and they were there and we would see each other. So that made it a little more difficult, especially around their Christian holidays that I did not celebrate, but I would go to their house because they celebrated it, showing respect and wanting to spend time with them. But now the distance makes it easier. So
it's a good thing.
yeah,
It's a good thing. You don't have to carry it that way all over.
right. The guilt is
The
bad.
guilt, the guilt. The fact that they are probably in fear for you increase the
Right,
guilt,
right,
which is not a good thing for neither of you
right,
both. I mean,
right. Number 12, have you ever had a spell backfire on you to the point it scared you so much that you considered stop practicing witchcraft?
nope.
Yeah, no, me neither. Nope. I
Nope.
think honestly, and I'm going out on a limb here. Um, maybe I shouldn't. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. Okay, I'm
Okay.
just gonna say
Okay,
it.
let's go.
I think if you had a spell backfire to the point it scared you so much that you considered stop practicing witchcraft, then you didn't do your pre-work, meaning that you didn't consider no to know.
Yeah.
If you knew yourself, if you knew your craft, if you knew or considered consequences, if you were really aligned and in tune with your true will, if your relationship with your gods, your spirits, the ancestors, the mighty ones, if everything was in alignment, then you wouldn't have done a spell that backfired so much it scared the shit out of you. That wouldn't have happened. That wouldn't have happened. But that's my opinion. That doesn't mean it's a fact.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
my
no.
opinion.
Of course. But we are here to talk about our opinions, so that's okay.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think there. Yeah, I agree. I think we should first examine our thoughts, our will, and be ready to deal with consequences and
Yep.
pre-work, as you said, absolutely. Contemplating the situation.
Yeah,
And
if you have to pull cards, if you have to do divination, if you have to meditate and commune with the spirits, which I think you should do before you do any major spell, because I would assume that if you had a spell backfire on you to the point it scared you so much that you considered stop practicing, that wasn't just a small little money spell for yourself.
yeah,
It was
yeah, for
something.
something like this, when I'm hearing the question, I'm obviously starting to think curses.
I know.
Curses. That's the
Yeah.
obvious spell that might scare. I mean, when you see the consequences, if your curse manifested, maybe you are scared because it worked,
Right.
and then you are in guilt because you didn't think that you intend so much of, I don't know, illness or
Right.
accident or anything. But then you shouldn't have worked in the heat of the moment. Then
Right.
you should it's better to contemplate things
I
before
agree.
acting. I
Because
did have.
if you're in that heat of the moment, you can take that energy and
Oh yeah,
imbue it
anger is
into
powerful
something.
energy.
You
Yeah,
could take it and put it in a vessel where you can tap into that at a later date.
absolutely. And if it is a true pain would generate this amount of anger, then it will last. No need to rush. It will last. You will continue to suffer a bit. So you don't have to rush on your altar and speak the door with the name. You don't have to do this in a minute. It took me months before I reacted to a huge amount of pain that so-called friends did to me. It took me months. And and it didn't backfire on me, but for sure it burned them a bit.
Yeah.
And I do not regret a single thing. And what is amusing in the fact it's they never knew what I did, what I was thinking, what I was practicing. They never knew I was even believing in some form of God or gods. They thought they knew me, but they didn't. And
Right.
today, if someone were to tell them someone cast a spell on you, they wouldn't believe it. But
Right.
still, they are in shit. And that's great. Sorry.
Okay. So we're going to try to speed up through the last, 6 questions. We have about 13,
All right.
14 minutes. Okay. So number 13, when you first started practicing, when was the moment you stopped depending on other people, books, websites for guidance, and started following your own intuition and doing what feels right to you? So when was the moment you stopped depending on other things and really listened to yourself?
Sorry, but I never depends on anything because I didn't know, sorry, what I was exactly. So I first starting to practice following only my intuition, and that's just now, since a couple of years, that I am learning more about other beliefs and practices, and I am digging into different way of doing magical work. But at first, and still now, I am only following my intuition. So
Yeah.
sorry.
No, don't apologize. I don't think I ever depended on websites or books or specific authors or other people. I never really depended on someone else. I would,
It could be inspiration, yeah, but
right, exactly. And I would read different websites and read different books and gather information. But I always picked what felt right and true and
for
left
you, yeah,
what didn't make sense to me.
absolutely.
Especially when you read different authors and they have different takes on the same subject. So I think it really helps to be aligned with yourself to know which is right for you.
Yeah.
So number 14, do you wait for karma or do you take karma into your own hands?
As you know, I like to go and say karma is a witch. I do not wait for karma if needed. I am the karma.
Yeah.
That's my answer. It's kind of arrogant, I know, but it just means that if I feel that something is off or imbalanced, or if there is injustice, or
Yeah.
it's the right,
Injustice. Yep.
yeah, then I will try to get the balance done.
Yeah, for me, I think it depends on the situation. It depends on who's involved. It depends on what I feel was done. Because sometimes I think waiting for karma or waiting for the consequences of someone else's actions is more amusing to
Yeah,
watch than
that's true.
me putting the consequences quicker. I think sometimes that time is needed for the other individual to like realize what's happening. Because I feel like if I were to just jump in and drop the hammer, it wouldn't be as exquisite as watching things unfold on their own and watching this person get tangled in their own web of deceit and lies.
Yeah, of course. When I hear the question about karma, for me, it's about something big. It's not about the bad attitude of someone, or lies, petty lies, and it's not about this. I just don't pay attention. I'm waiting. I wait for them to stumble on their own feet.
Well, sometimes I think big things too. And what's coming to mind for me is my situation with my previous landlady. I mean, there were definitely times that I could have dropped the hammer and we could have just fucked her up. But I feel like allowing the situation to play out is going to cause her more stress and more pain and suffering than I could ever do, because she's creating such a terrible situation for herself.
For herself, yeah. I'm not running every now and then to my altar to cast the disease, and no. Most of the time I do nothing. I just do nothing, because again, it's about not acting on the heat of the moment, and it's about contemplating the situation, knowing what it's worth, and if it's needed, truly needed. For me, when the need comes, it's often about pain, deep pain.
Yeah.
If it's not a real suffering for me, there's no need for me to act.
Right. Number 15, have you ever been psychically attacked by a fellow pagan or witch?
Nope.
I don't, I had a situation, but I don't know if it was from someone else or just from the spiritual realm. I don't think it was a specific person attacking me. I almost feel like it was an entity playing with me, because I had opened myself up to whoever and whatever wants to come and visit. Here I am.
Right.
I think I've done that. So silly me. Never do that again.
It was a bit silly, but yeah.
Live and learn.
Absolutely.
Number 16, have you ever been accused of something that you didn't do because you practice witchcraft?
Not yet.
Well, what helps you with this is because people don't know you practice witchcraft. Absolutely. Then you've allowed yourself to be concealed, so you're not a target.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm living in the shadow.
Exactly. I have been accused of something I didn't do, but that's from a person who was a member of my group, my coven. They left, and then they started accusing me and my husband of things. Actually, a couple of people did that. Once they left the group, they went around and were telling people that we did specific things that we didn't do. And it got back to us because, we were still friends with people in that community. So it was because we were a witch, and they told people we were a satanic witches.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Weren't they in your coven?
Yes, they were.
But then by spreading
they said that when they found out what kind of coven, but that's not how it went out. And again, that's people being hurt by things and decisions that were made, and then they left, and then feeling hurt and betrayed, or whatever they were feeling, and trying to cause hurt, tarnishing our reputation.
I see. There is
whatever
like this.
There are whatever. Number 17, how do you feel about bringing diversity into your practice from other cultures outside of your own? And I think this is sort of touching on cultural appropriation. I almost feel like that's what they're talking about here.
I think it is. Well, it would then open the subject about, I think, eclecticism again. because there is difference between eclecticism and cultural appropriation. I'm not making any money on the beliefs that I found interesting for myself and that I incorporated into my practice. So I feel personally pretty well with bringing parts of beliefs from other traditions or cults or anything, because that's the way it works. It worked this way since ages. Many spiritualities and beliefs and kind of mix with each other at some part, exchanging practices and even gods. So where is the problem?
Yeah.
I don't see anyone, at least when it is done in true respect, in true interest, of course. Because if it's sometimes English is difficult. If it's well, if it is just to showing up to you know make yourself more interesting or anything like this, then it sucks. But if it is for your practice, your growth, if you do incorporate all of this along with your true will and what you feel and know that you need to do, then it's no one else's problem.
Yeah, I
It's just
agree.
about you.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very eclectic and I have different beliefs. I, pull from theosophy and some Buddhist philosophies and
Mm-hmm.
practices, and I don't think there's a problem. Like you said, I think the key here is respect. Having respect for the things that you're working with, having respect for these different beliefs and making them sacred, seeing them
Yeah.
as sacred and practicing them as sacredness. It's different. And I think if you're talking about a true practice, an authentic practice, a witchcraft practice, then the things that you're doing, I feel, are out of respect, but obviously only you can answer that for yourself. So for me, I have no problem with it. And the last question, question 18, is what is your favorite witchy tool or physical item that you use?
Again, it's a difficult question. We had it in the previous show, I think, something along this line. So I would say again, probably my cauldron and my pentacle.
Yeah, mine's my blade. My blade is my favorite witchy tool. But I use my pentacle a lot. And we talked about it in the previous episode. Yeah. So if you
Yeah.
haven't watched it, go watch that. So that completes Ravenflower's 2018 Witchy Questions tag, which is good because we only have like 2 minutes left. So I want to take this opportunity to steer you guys over to my Patreon, Lunar Wisdom's Patreon page. If you're more interested in that journey of self-love, I don't know how many posts are up there now, but there's one per week. I try to stay on top of that. And that all you have to do to gain access to that is pledge $1 a month and you get access to that information. You'll get the newest ones and you'll be able to go back and read the archives of all that journey that I'm going through and continue to go through. And you also, for $5 a month, if you check out the Becoming Witch series, I think I don't know how many episodes. I haven't uploaded any new episodes, but I have some planned. I'm going to be working on that. So if you're interested in that, you will have a catalog to that. Check that out. And then there's other tiers and other rewards. So go check it out.
Yeah, go.
That is it for today. Thank you for spending time with us. I love you all.
Yeah. Merci de nous avoir suivis. J'espère que vous avez passé un bon moment avec nous et on se revoit au prochain épisode. Bye bye.
Blessed be everyone.